Hello.
Hi, to how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today, Vlad?
Not bad myself. You are in
Excellent.
the US now, or
Yes, I'm in the US. I'm in California right now.
I see.
Um, yes,
It's
and you
very
are
early
in.
in the morning now in Japan. I'm in Japan, but I'm Bulgarian,
Mm.
and I used to be a language teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, until I
Oh.
realized that language cannot be taught. So I would love you to convince me otherwise.
To convince you that language can be taught?
Can a language be taught?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, what other way are you going to learn a
No, the
language?
difference between to learn a language and being taught a language. There's a
Mm.
difference.
Okay. Well, what do you mean the difference between learning and being taught?
I don't think that language can be taught in a classroom setting, say.
I agree with that. I think that the way that people teach language around the world is not necessarily the best way to learn a language. Yeah. Um, I think that the language teaching now is more focused on um, reading and writing and not focused enough on speaking and listening. I think that it tries to be a little bit too technical and teaching people correct and incorrect grammar
But
with
your focus is grammar,
essentially
isn't it? Your,
right.
I don't know, area of expertise is teaching grammar.
Yeah, so I do teach a lot of grammar. I also teach a lot of like accent changing and things like that. Um, but yeah, no, I think that grammar is
What's
important.
the key to teaching grammar? How does your
So
method differ from
sure, yeah,
everybody
yeah,
else?
So I think about grammar not so much as like rules that you need to learn and follow, but it's about recognizing patterns in a language and
Hmm.
being able to work with those patterns. And I really encourage my students to be experimental, to try new things, to try to develop a sense of what
What do
feels
you mean by
right.
patterns when you say patterns? Everything is a pattern, right?
Right. So everything in languages are patterns, right? That's the grammar. Grammar is essentially a system of patterns that you use in order to express meaning, right?
True.
Um, so, like in English, for example, word order is really important, right? Whereas word order is not as important in other languages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, learning the word order pattern in English is really important. But once you kind of understand the basics of those patterns, then you can look at
How would you
um,
explain the present perfect? Let me give you a
the
very
present
simple
perfect.
question. Yes, the present perfect.
Sure. So
The pattern of the present perfect.
the
Simple.
pattern of the present perfect, yeah. Well, I mean, the pattern of the present perfect is to use the has or have, aspect with the present perfect form of whatever the word is, right? So like, um, has eaten, right, has this different form than just a regular
And
past
people will be
tense.
able to use it, you think, after this explanation?
Well,
To
no, that's just the
internalize the pattern? I mean, this is just a standard definition.
right.
You see, to me, grammar,
Hmm.
I'm not a linguist. You have a background in linguistics, right?
I do.
I'm
Hmm.
not a linguist, but as I said, I used to teach. So,
Hmm.
and I think more importantly, I am a language learner myself.
Hmm. Of course.
I learned the bloody language,
Hmm. Yeah,
and
yeah.
very important that I learned it as an adult. You can tell by
Hmm.
my accent. You know, I
Hmm.
grew
Hmm.
up behind the Iron Curtain. We didn't have
Hmm.
access to
Hmm.
Western culture, especially
Hmm.
the U.S. and from the U.S. and the U.K. There was some Italian and French stuff, but you know,
Hmm.
probably you're familiar with the history before the
Hmm.
1989. But
Yeah.
anyway, very limited access. So I was able to master the bloody thing. But you see, to me, grammar is to language what music theory is to songs.
Mm, mhm, mhm,
So Again, when I'm talking about learning a language as an adult, not as a
Hmm.
child, as an
Right.
adult.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, I agree, and I like that comparison, the music theory versus music, and grammar is to language.
Especially
That
songs, not
right.
music. I used to say music theory to music, but actually to songs. I think that's a better way to explain grammar. Songs, because when you learn a musical instrument as an adult, the
Hmm.
way you should go about it, you should start with your favorite songs
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
extract the theory from it. So the analogy with language
Hmm.
is you start with your favorite piece of information. You
Hmm.
see, to me, language is a tool for acquiring knowledge.
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
Language is a
Hmm.
tool for getting information.
Sure. It's also a tool for giving information. Yeah.
Getting, to me, is a tool for acquiring knowledge, period. That's it.
Okay.
To me, speaking is a byproduct of acquiring knowledge.
Okay.
And vocabulary and grammar are not knowledge.
Okay. Vocabulary and grammar are not
Are
knowledge?
not knowledge.
Okay, how so?
Another way to explain it, vocabulary and grammar are to language what glossaries and footnotes are to a book. As you said, they are there to explain the meaning, but the content of the book is the essence. Glossaries and footnotes are there to help you get the message. Music theory is to help you, I don't know, understand how a certain song works or it's
Mhm.
constructed, but it's actually the song what you're interested in.
I see, but I would say that the metaphor there kind of breaks down because to appreciate a song, all you need to do is listen to it, right? Like I love listening to music in other languages that I don't understand, right?
I'm talking
And
about
it's
learning a musical instrument. Appreciating a song, appreciating a language, the metaphor breaks down. I agree 100% with you. Language is very unique. With those
Mhm.
metaphors, I still trying to kind of explain what language is. It's
Right,
very
right.
hard to explain what language is, but to me, language is a tool for acquiring knowledge. I do agree with you that the metaphor doesn't hold when you
Mhm.
dig a little bit deeper. I know.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's very hard to compare language to anything else. Usually, music is the closest thing.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that music is a great metaphor. I just don't necessarily think that vocabulary and grammar, I would say, are not knowledge.
Not
I think
knowledge,
they
unless
are
you want to
things.
be a
Right.
linguist, unless you want to focus on language. So the language becomes the knowledge, etymology,
So you're
syntax,
talking about like academic knowledge about language,
proper
right?
knowledge. That becomes the knowledge you want to acquire. But to me, language is a tool for acquiring knowledge. When we ask each other, "What are you knowledgeable about?" we don't say vocabulary and grammar. But in your case,
Hmm.
that might be the answer. I know language. I know about language.
Right. Hmm.
But for
Hmm.
most people, when we ask each other what are you knowledgeable about, we say I know chemistry, marketing, programming,
Sure. Hmm.
history, and stuff like that. To me, language is a tool for acquiring knowledge.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
when you say there's two, hence the why people can't learn a language in a classroom setting because there's no knowledge.
Hmm. Yes, I agree with that. I think that um, yeah, they're not focusing on acquiring some sort of knowledge or communicating any amount of knowledge, right? It's just
Yes,
memorizing vocabulary and grammar rules, which is not useful.
it's
Yeah.
it's like trying to learn, say, economics, and all you
Hmm.
do is cram the glossaries at the end and
Yes,
footnotes at the bottom. That's why I
I
make
agree.
those comparisons.
Hmm.
What the my analogy with the music is about how to learn grammar. You
Hmm.
start with the song and you extract the theory from the song.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
that's why the analogy holds. You start with the favorite piece of information, knowledge, and you extract the grammar from it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. I try to do the same thing. Like you were asking, explaining the present perfect, right? So normally I would not just try to explain, this is the rule, right? I would get like a news article, right? Because news and those kinds of things in English are typically written in present perfect tense. We get something that they're interested in, that they want to know about, and then we talk about why are they using the present perfect here? How does that change the meaning versus simple
Exactly.
past,
So
right?
but the thing is, they should be able to figure that out on their own. To me, the role of a language teacher. What is the role of the language teacher, as far as you are concerned?
Well, I think it's to help them navigate that kind of thing. I think it's very difficult for most people to figure out that stuff on their own, to understand the
Talking about
nuance
adults. Sorry,
meaning.
talking about adults.
Yeah, I only work with adults. Yeah.
To me, the role of a language teacher, any teacher for that matter, is to teach the student how to learn alone,
Oh
without a
yeah,
teacher.
absolutely. Yeah. That's why I say I'm just helping them navigate. I'm trying to give them tools to be able to learn on their own
When you
also.
say patterns, to me, again, the analogy with music, to me, grammar is musical patterns, melodic
Mhm.
patterns. So
Mhm.
the way people, I mean, to teach the present perfect is almost impossible. It's
Mhm.
about getting enough information and being able to extract the present perfect from it.
Mhm.
This
Okay.
I've done. I've. It's more about rhythm. It's more about musical pattern
Mhm.
rather than telling the rule that it's have has plus the third
Yes.
form.
But in the same way, like if I just gave you a guitar and said, figure out here's your favorite song, you love this song, figure out how to play the guitar. That would be difficult.
I mean, I'm not saying that there's no place for a teacher, but that because it all starts with your songs. What is the song? You have to be really passionate about the song or songs. Same with language. To me, the notion
So
of learning a foreign language makes no sense. It's about acquiring knowledge in the language. And nobody goes to a language classroom to acquire knowledge. Nobody comes to you to acquire knowledge. They come to practice speaking, and to me, practice speaking makes no sense whatsoever. Speaking is
why?
a byproduct of acquiring knowledge.
Mm. I think then I would have to say that most of the world disagrees with you.
You have one life. Don't waste it.